This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined by a very happy looking Michael McKinson. We're about a week, just over a week after your win over Chris Kongo on the Povetkin White 2 undercard. First and foremost, congratulations on your win, Michael.
Just under a week, 6 days ago it was.
God, literally while I was doing it, I thought it was Monday. So that kind of shows you where I am in my head.
Yeah.
Less than a week, less than a week from it. Congratulations on your win. You must, well, I can see by the smile on your face that you're a very happy man.
I'm very happy. I proved a lot of people wrong. You know, like if all I see on social medias in the build up was polls. Who do you think will win? McKinson, Kongo, and everyone said Kongo. You know, there's very few people in the boxing world that actually picked me to win, and I knew, my team knew, and my city knew, and that's all that mattered. My city earned a lot of money from the bookies.
Talk to me about the week of the fight. You've mentioned it there, kind of seeing polls and people, you know, picking Chris Kongo. I think the general consensus was that it was a very, very close fight, but as you say, a lot of people were going for Chris. How did you feel being on that stage? Of course, being on a pay-per-view show in Gibraltar, you know, like it was a very different surroundings. What was the week like for you in the build-up?
It was amazing. Like Matchroom, unbelievable. Like being on that setup was great. You know, like we was on like a 5-star yacht ship, like hotel. We was on a 5-star yacht hotel. There was like cameras in my face all week. Like loads of like well-respected people were with us on the boat as well. So people were saying, "Oh, you must be fanboy," and like all that. No, I wasn't. I was there for one purpose, you know. I wasn't there to make friends or socialise. I was there to change my life. And that was my only focus all week. So I kept myself to myself, spent a lot of time in my room. After the fight, I got some pictures and I enjoyed the last few hours of being there, you know, but I had a job to do first and foremost, like, and I got the job done, you know.
You certainly did get the job done. I think going into the fight, a lot of people, myself included, thought potentially we could see something of a chess match, particularly in those early rounds. We didn't see that. We saw you come out of the traps very, very quickly. Talk to me about the reasoning behind that. Was that always something that you'd planned to do in camp?
I've dropped my last 3 opponents in the first round. I've got all 3 of them. And like my last 3 opponents, I've dropped them early, you know. So it's not something I'm new to, starting quick. The plan was always to outbox Chris. And people were thinking, like, me being the shorter guy, I would have to get in and rough him up and like, first round, I made him respect my power. You know, all the way through the fight. If you look at when we were trading, he was coming off worse. Oh, wait there. Sorry, people's. He was coming off worse. So I made him respect my power firstly, but I'm a great boxer and I knew I could outbox him. Okay, he's 4 or 5 inches taller than me. He's got a longer reach than I have. He's got a better amateur pedigree, better feet. He's more dangerous than me. But do you know what? He ain't going to beat me. He weren't ever going to beat me. I knew I could beat him. My team knew I could beat him. And he got outfoxed by a fox.
How difficult a fight was it in those early rounds? I think we saw quite clearly Chris Kongo struggling with your style. It looked to take him several rounds to find any sort of rhythm, but you started the fight, as I mentioned, very, very quickly. You looked very, very comfortable in there very quickly.
Yeah, I think for me, it wasn't so much a hard fight. It was the toughest part for me was to stay focused and switched on. Because if I didn't, one moment he could have got the upper hand. I stayed very switched on and very alert throughout the whole fight, and like I thought I controlled it. You know, like I looked over to him, like he's supposed to be Mr. Fit and stuff like that. I looked over to him going into the 10th and final round. I wasn't breathing. The fight was a slow pace for me. I wasn't breathing. I felt I could have done another 8 rounds. He looked like he was breathing quite heavy going into that last round. I know he's never gone into that 10th and final round before, but I felt so in control of that, like of everything, like all night. Watched it back. I won the first 3 rounds, including the 10-8, and I won the last 3 rounds. And then the middle rounds were really close, which you could argue who got, because nothing was happening. But there was no denying the winner, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm happy to see. I'm excited to see what's next.
I think a lot of people are excited to see what's next for you. But talk to me about that. We've seen the photos from Matchroom, from Mark Robinson, of you elated really when the decision was announced. We can see the look of joy on your face. Just try and explain to me what that meant for you. For somebody who's come up the hard way, you've not been given the opportunities throughout your professional career, explain that moment of getting the announcement as the winner.
It's been a long time coming to get my shot on that big stage. Like, this is my 7th year as a professional. I didn't earn a penny for my first 10 pro fights. And even since, it hasn't been like mega loads that I've earned from boxing. And I always was frustrated for a long time. Like, am I ever going to get my opportunity on that big stage? Because I deserve to be there. All my other fights I've beaten with relative ease. So it's been very frustrating. There's been times where I thought, do you know what? I deserve so much more out of boxing, but I'm not getting it. Like, is it even worth it anymore? Do you know what I mean? I finally got my big shot, and I know it was a hard fight, and I know not many people backed me. So when I got my arm lifted, it was the best feeling ever. It was the best feeling. That was my golden ticket, you know? That was my golden ticket to change mine and my daughter's life. And like, I think I've potentially done that. Like, whatever's next could be massive. So I was so relieved that I got it done, and I was so relieved the judging was good judging. So yeah, it was very, very emotional, very animated, the interviews and that afterwards. But like, I'm finally where I want to be in boxing. I've boxed my whole life. I've been in boxing my whole life, and for the first time, I'm finally where I want to be in my career.
What is next for you then? I mean, I'm sure, you know, MTK, Lee Eaton, and what have you have been discussing the next move for you. You've got that lofty ranking with the WBO. You've just picked up a WBO global title. So surely it got to be a big fight for you next.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's next. I know that they've got big plans for me, and I know MTK will do what's best for me. But I've just announced myself on the bigger stage in boxing, so we'll see. They said just be a little bit patient. It's hard for me to stay patient, but I'm just gonna be patient, chill for a couple of weeks. Like, I'm gonna be back training this weekend, but I mean, I won't pest Lee Eaton because I'm the biggest pest they've got, I reckon. But give him a couple of weeks, and then we'll sit down and see where I'll go from here, because like, the world's my oyster now. Do you know what I mean? I just want fights that's going to benefit me and my career. I've never really had a say in who I can fight or what's the next route for me. Everybody they've put in front of me, I've said yes, and I've dealt with them with a smile on my face. And now I want to think of more what beneficial to me, whatever's more beneficial to me, because I'm 27 in a couple of weeks. That's my 7th pro year. So like, I want to achieve as much as possible, earn as much money as possible over the next couple of years.
Do you think you're past domestic level now? I mean, admittedly, the fight with Chris, although Chris was a domestic fight, I think the general consensus was it was above that domestic level. Do you see yourself just looking to push on now?
I think it'd be disrespectful to say I'm past domestic level, because there's some great fighters there that don't really get a lot of recognition. Like me, I was a great fighter for a long time before last weekend. But I do see me beating Chris Kongo does sit me at the top of the tree domestically. So unless it makes sense, I don't really want to know. And that's no disrespect to the other guys. There's some great guys in that top 10 that don't really get it looking. Like Lewis Crocker, great fighter. Samuel Antwi just announced himself a couple of weeks ago. Chris Jenkins, Liam Taylor, Echo Suman. There's some great fighters that don't really get a lot of recognition. So it's a great time to be a welterweight as a fan. Like, for Chris Kongo, there's some great fights there. Like, I'd love to see like Chris Kongo against Crocker or Marku or someone like that. So, but for me, I've got a lot of ambition, and I want to just keep pushing on, keep challenging myself where people don't really think I'm going to do it, because they're the fights that bring the best out of me.
You mentioned that, and you mentioned wanting to challenge yourself. I remember it wasn't that long ago. I think it was probably 3 or 4 months ago where you called out Virgil Ortiz on one day and then Jaron Ennis the next day. Is that the type of level that you're looking at?
Hey, just ask Lee and chuck me in with them guys. Like, chuck me in with them guys. Like, I'm more than happy to. I'd love to go to the States and fight people like that. You know, like at the time, I was so frustrated I was never going to get a big fight, and then Virgil, like, do you know what I mean? So then I just like, yeah, like, stuff it. Let's call them names out. I believe in myself. You know, I'm a problem for anybody. So let me test myself. So yeah, just whatever comes. I know MTK's got my best interests at heart. Like I trust them fully in guiding my career the right way. But I am ambitious and I'll fight anyone. So we'll see.
Final one from me, Michael. I do appreciate your time today. One thing that I've discussed with pretty much a lot of fighters who are around a similar area, that kind of Portsmouth, Bournemouth, Southampton kind of area down the bottom of the country, haven't had a big show down there in a while. Now, Chris Smith, obviously from Bournemouth, picked up a win recently. You've just picked up a massive win. What would it mean for you to take a big show down to that part of the country?
I would love to. Like, my ultimate goal in boxing is to fight on Fratton Park. Like, that's my biggest goal in boxing. I would love to do that and make history. But I even like I mentioned it to Eddie when he came in the change rooms. I was like, why don't you get a show down south? Like, get a shot like straight away. I'd love. It's been a while since I've boxed in my hometown. 2017, when I stopped Colin Lyons, is the last time I've boxed in Portsmouth. It is something I really want to. I deserve a homecoming. But whatever suits my career best at this stage. So even if I have to wait a little bit for that big fight on Fratton Park or even on the south coast, a big fight, but I'd definitely want to box like in my area again, 100%.
Okay, well, Michael, before I let you go, I'm going to leave the final word with you. You made a good point there about domestic welterweights being avoided, or not even just welterweights, but people in boxing. You know, sometimes your face doesn't fit, sometimes you don't sell enough tickets, or for whatever reason, it just doesn't come together. Now, you're one of the great examples of recent years of somebody who's trusted in their ability. You've got the opportunities and you've taken it. What message have you got for people? Because there's a lot of fighters out there, particularly on the back of COVID, who haven't had the right opportunities and maybe are a little bit disenchanted with their boxing career. What message have you got for those people?
Just keep knocking on the door and keep proving people wrong and speak your mind, because sooner or later it will come. Like, I waited a long time. I was in the top 10 for, I think, 3 years before getting that opportunity. And in boxing, there's a lot of talkers and there's a lot of fakes. Like, everyone wants to fight each other. But if you look at in that top 10, the only 2 people that have actually fought each other is me and Chris Kongo. So hopefully, as a fan, hopefully we can see more fights like that and more people in the top 10 fighting each other, because it's a great time to be a welterweight. And like it seems on social media, everyone wants them fights. So it's down to the promoters to put them on.
Okay. Right. Well, Michael McKinson, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Congratulations once again on your win over Chris Kongo, and we look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully in a big fight down in Portsmouth.
Brilliant. Nice one, mate. Appreciate that.